Not used to seeing this in my garage. Oh, I'm in love with this car, you guys. In love with this car. Oh, I can't get out. I'm still not used to it. It's so weird. So weird seeing this thing in my garage. I love this car. I know we're still in like the honeymoon phase. Everything is still new, but you guys, I'm hyped about this build. Anyways, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we are installing the I&D painted reflectors, and then we are also going over to Sensational to have the car tinted, and I think I'm gonna have the headlights PPF. I'm also gonna have Lewis take a look at the paint, and then we're gonna schedule a time to do a full paint correction and front end PPF. I figure for right now, we might as well just go ahead and take care of the fishbowl on this thing. This car's gonna look really good tinted out. With it being all black the way it is, the windows right now, with them being clear, is just so weird. It's like so out of place. It's gonna look good, murdered out. So a couple of easy tasks we're gonna tackle today. You guys, a lot of these first videos on this car are gonna be like the simple things until we get into like the real modifications. I do have a list of stuff already on the way. This build is going to progress fast. Before I do a ton of modifications though, I'm gonna make sure that I make some videos for you guys, giving you my genuine review on the car, just kind of like my first impressions on it and how I feel about it. I really, really like the car. Like, there's so many reasons why I like the car, but there are also some like weird little quirks to it that you kind of just have to get used to, and I'll share all of that with you guys. We're gonna get into all of those things, and this car is gonna go through various versions or phases. I have two big ideas for the car, and I'm gonna be going further with this car than any other build I've gone before. I'm not gonna dive too far into that or what that means, because I've learned in the past to not talk about things until you actually do them. So on this build, you guys, I'm not gonna be talking too much about what's gonna happen to the car. I'm just going to do it and show you. I feel like that's a much better approach, and I'm not upsetting people when certain things don't happen. I've learned from making that mistake in the past. So in order to actually pop in these painted reflectors, I will have to remove the rear wheels. You gotta get behind the wheel well back here and take off the plastic in order to actually reach the reflector, pop it out, put in the new ones, and then we'll head over to Sensational and get it tinted out. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is really hot, really sunny here, like all the time. Tint is a must. It's not even like an option. You really just have to do it. I take all my cars for PPF, paint correction, tint, all of that to Sensational Tint Wraps and Detail here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I go for the ceramic tint. We're gonna do 20% all around. This time I'm not going to tint my windshield, and I'll explain why when we go grab coffee, but I'm not gonna do it this time around. I might down the line, but not right off the bat. So these are just like mega eyesores. You've got one back here, and then you've got the orange ones up front. They really just completely kill the whole vibe of the car, so we're gonna murder that out. It's gonna look way better. I also wanna show you, I put on my radar detector mount and hardwired my radar detector. It was really easy. I'm gonna throw up some screenshots and kind of explain how I did that, because I didn't really film it. I've done that so many times on this channel to so many different cars, and lo and behold, this is basically a BMW, so it was the exact same process and everything fit just like it did on all my BMWs. So if you're interested on how to do that, I'm gonna link the stuff that I use, the mount and the radar detector that I use down below, as well as the hardwire kit, and I'm gonna lead you guys through the process right here. All right, guys, so I'm gonna lead you through this process really quick. It's pretty simple. It's the same kit that I use on all my BMWs, and now I'm using it on my Supra. So if you have a Supra, this works just perfectly fine. This is the mirror tap method. You're gonna see right behind your mirror, there's two plastic pieces that form into one that cover up all of the mirror electronics behind it. And what you wanna do is separate those two pieces. I use two pick tools on each side, just pop them apart, whole thing comes right apart, or you can use like a trim tool or something. And then when you have that apart, you're gonna see all of the electronics inside. You're gonna see two plugs. One is a longer black plug, like a wider black plug, and then above the black plug you're gonna see a smaller like magenta plug, and that smaller magenta plug is the one that we're gonna be tapping into for the radar detector to power on and function. So there are two wires that we're looking for, basically ground and power. Ground is gonna be brown, power is gonna be red. Take your pick tool and reach in and pop out that little magenta plug. You're gonna wanna be able to take it out in order to tap into the actual plug, because it's a lot harder to reach in there when it's still plugged in. So unplug that, tap the red into the red wire, and then tap the brown into the brown wire, and then go ahead and plug that back in. Then you can go ahead and reassemble the two plastic pieces. You can run the cable coming out of the mirror tap kind of however you want. You can have it down below, you can have it in the circular part where the actual mirror comes out. That's where I did it. So where the actual mirror like hangs out of the two plastic pieces, that's where I have the cable coming out. I think that's the cleanest. I think that just makes the most sense. You can go wherever though. And once you have those two plastic pieces clipped on back together, hiding all of the electronics, you're gonna go ahead and put the mount on. So the mount is really easy as well. But what you wanna do is, rather than mounting it like this, you wanna mount it on an angle. The reason you do that is because that gives you flexibility to push the radar detector backwards. If you don't do that, it's gonna hang really far low and really far forward. So I always take the mount, and rather than mounting it like this, I mount it on an angle like that, like a really, really far angle. That will allow me to kind of have a little more adjustability as to where I want the radar detector. And I can snug it up against the mirror that way. The mount is pretty self-explanatory. It's 2 screws that are an Allen wrench, a very small Allen wrench. Just make sure you cock it sideways, tighten down the Allen wrench, and then leave everything kind of loose until you actually get the mirror positioned to where you want it in the car, so sit in the driver's seat. I always do this entire install in the passenger seat, but once you're done with this part, you can sit in the driver's seat, adjust that mirror to where you want it exactly, that makes sense, and then go ahead and tighten down those 2 little Allen screws, and then go ahead and put your radar detector on, and then go ahead and plug it in. So this mirror tap works well because the power to it actually does turn off after 30 minutes when the car goes to sleep. So you can do that, or you can also set auto power off on your radar detector, whichever one you want to do. Either one works fine. Once you have all that figured out, kind of situated to where you want, and yeah, it's the best method that I can find out there. It's not the blend mount, so it's a lot cheaper. The blend mount is nice, looks really good, but it's super, super expensive. So it's like a fraction of the cost, works fine. I've had it in all my BMWs, and now I have it in my BMW Supra. Anyways, you guys, back to the video. All right, so hopefully that cleared some stuff up for you guys. I did want to note that these are going to be linked down below as well. These are from I&D. So I&D is really like the only company that paint matches these. They're a little bit pricey, but in my opinion, they're worth it. They're like the only people that do it properly, the real paint code of the Supra. They have these for BMWs. I've ran these on all of my cars. Every single car that I've owned, I've ran the I&D painted reflectors. Anyways, you guys, before we grab coffee, I'm going to give you a little cold start. We're going to head over to Starbucks real quick. So glad I decided to do a black car this time around. So glad. White was getting a little monotonous. That interior, though. So it's actually kind of funny because this mount in this car, it's made for BMWs and it fit better in this car than any of my BMWs. How funny is that? Also, you know, I do have to say, as much as I love manual, it is really nice driving an automatic. Like, I'm not mad about the automatic decision in this car. I also kind of feel like this car would have been weird or misplaced with a manual transmission. I don't know, like it just feels like it should have the automatic. You know what I mean? Like the Supra is just kind of made for that. Oof, I love this interior though, man. The red guts in this thing are perfect. The black with the red, woof, woof. Car sounds so good in stock form. Like I just can't wait to start getting performance parts on it because I know it's gonna sound like an absolute monster once we start putting stuff on it. I also talked to our friend John over at CES Motorsports who has the dyno. So we're gonna head over to John's shop next week and we're gonna dyno the car, get stock numbers. That's something that I've never done with any of my cars. I always just looked up like rough numbers online. I'm gonna get stock numbers of this car so I have them and we see real gains, exact precise gain numbers out of the modifications we do. Also, something that I'm beginning to learn with this car, it gets a ton of attention. Pretty much everywhere I go, when I park the car, someone asks me, is that the new Supra, or what is that, or that thing looks amazing. There's always some kind of conversation that happens around this car. These are all things that I'm new to, that I'm just like learning about the car as I own it. And honestly, it's just so much fun. I'm just having so much fun getting acquainted to this car. It's gonna be a blast, you guys. I'm so excited. All right, we're pulling up to the good old Starbucks, my second home. Grab that coffee, head home, pop in those I&D reflectors and get this thing tinted out. Just literal fishbowl. I can't even pick my nose without people watching me.
You got me down again.
I'm also learning that This car with Beamer code, you have to use a different adapter. I think all the newer cars, you have to use a different adapter or like an actual Ethernet cable in order to code features, because I was able to code a few things with my VPeak, but it kind of stopped me before I could code any like real stuff. So we're gonna do a whole different video about that, but there's a lot of things in this car that I wanna code out because it does have some safety features that like automatically go on that are super annoying. You already know. Oh man, it's so good. Make me go broke. I don't even care, it's so good. I really hope that there's a transmission flash for this thing because I could see the potential of this transmission just being lightning fast. It's quick now, but the car feels so good to drive. Oh, it's so smooth, you guys. Like the way that this thing puts on the power, just how it drives in general, it's so smooth. It's a lot different than the M2. A lot different. All right, so I'm gonna have to figure out which one is which are front and which are back, because they are like very, very similar. There's a slight angle difference in the tops, so that's how we're gonna be able to tell. I think we can just turn the wheel and sneak in there without having to actually take the wheel off. The back, unfortunately, I will have to take the rear wheel off in order to get behind there. But yeah, let's turn the wheel and start with the front. Fortunately, we do have to undo a couple of these screws back here. It looks like they're just little 8mm, just like every BMW. And there's a little plastic piece right here. We're gonna peel that up a little bit. That'll allow us to access this. And then we should be able to just pop this out. Might have to heat it up with a heat gun, but we should be able to just pop it out. And then we'll go ahead and clean that area off with some isopropyl. And then of course, put in the new ones. When you peel back that inner liner, there's like one more liner in there. And this sits right behind that second little bumper liner right there. So it's gonna be quite the process to clean back there without actually like taking the bumper off and stuff, which I'm definitely not doing for some reflectors. I'm gonna have to for sure heat it up and just loosen up that adhesive because this thing is just, it's rock tight. I'm a dumbass. I was sitting here like looking at them, trying to figure it out. Flip it over. FL, front left, FR, front right. So these are the rear ones, these are the front ones. Let's go ahead and throw it in. I did my best to clean the area inside of here, but it's really, really tight. Like the fitment in there it's really tight. So I did the best I could with some isopropyl. I was using this little guy to clean off some of the extra adhesive. I got most of it. There's a little bit up here, but I still don't see it being an issue with adhering to it because it's so tight up here. I think the way to install it is gonna be to cram it up in there and then adhere it back here. Sometimes it's a good idea to use like a clamp. I have a clamp, you know, to actually clamp it in there, but there's really no way to do it because there's this like bumper support back here and you have to reach behind that to even access it. It's really a pain in the ass the way that this is set up. The easiest way to do this would be to take the bumper off. Like that would be a piece of cake if you had the bumper off. But with the bumper on, it's not that easy. So I'm gonna do my best to get this adhered and in there and yeah, wish me luck. Hell yeah, dude. 10 times better. Just wanna make sure that you really hold everything down over here. Up top here, this tucks in so tight that like you don't really need to apply that much pressure because it's wedged up here in the top part. But for the most part, it's wedged up here and down here is really where you wanna make sure that the adhesive gets nice and tacky. But this one's good. I love modifications like this. I feel like they make such a big difference. Like they're so minor, but look at how consistent the car looks now. Like that yellow was just such an eyesore. So I figured out the best way to do it. If you are gonna do this, you're gonna have to use heat. You're gonna have to use heat. Don't get too close to the paint. Don't hold it in one spot. You will burn your paint. You just wanna kinda hover around the bottom. So don't even worry about heating this up. Hover right around here, and then you need to press. While pulling on the bumper here, you're pushing in with your thumb on this, and you will eventually get this side to pop out. And then you can slowly go ahead and just peel it all the way up. Up here, it's gonna tuck really far in, so you gotta pull it down and then kind of move it in, and then it comes out. But here we go. You know, I thought it would take like 10 minutes, ended up taking like a half an hour, but it looks really good. 10 times better, man. So now we're gonna do the rear ones. course, everything on this freaking car is like difficult. This is the tightest fit. You guys see? That's the reflector right there. And it's wedged in between two plastic pieces, both of which you can't really move. So it is gonna be extremely tight fitment. But I'm gonna try. That's your space. Like you have no room to work. All right, man, let's try it out. I'm working out the adhesive behind it. That's the only way to do it because you can't push this in far enough. There's nowhere to go. So you have to like peel off the adhesive from back here. Both of these jobs would be 10 times easier if you took the bumper off. But I mean, it seems ridiculous for a reflector. Oh man, I've spent 20 minutes or so. The thing is, I gotta be at Lewis's shop in the next 30 minutes. So I don't have time to do this. The only way to really do it would be to remove this entire liner, and then you have to pull off this plastic piece that sits back here because this wedges in so far that you can't even remove the rest of the adhesive. I took off all the adhesive around here, but all the adhesive in the back and below, because it goes all the way down to here, you can't remove it. Honestly, I might even have Lewis just like tint this one like super, super dark, kind of like I did on the M2. And if anything, I can just return these. Or I'll just keep them until we actually do remove the back bumper. This is actually quite a job. Like I didn't realize how in depth that would be. And the front was really these were the ones that bothered me the most. Like that yellow, that amber looks so bad. But back here, I think we'll live with some tint. Boys, I took an L. First project on the Supra and I took an L. It's okay, it's part of it. I tried though, you guys, I tried. Like I was using everything. I had all this adhesive off, I was using pick tools, I used heat. I got it to peel, but then I really didn't want to damage my bumper from like picking around on the inside. And even though I got the adhesive off to here, there's all this adhesive back here that you can't reach. And there's just no way to remove it without reaching back there. You'd have to remove the inside of the bumper. Yeah, it's a process. All right, so we gotta be at Lewis's in like 30 minutes. All right, you guys, so we are back at Sensational Tint Wraps Detail and the Supra getting prepped. Lewis is in there cutting the films, but we're gonna be doing the tint. We're doing 20% all around ceramic tinting. I'm not gonna do the windshield this time around. I might do it later, but I'm actually getting LASIK in January, and when I get LASIK, I will consider doing the front windshield. Lewis is also going to PPF the front headlights for me while we're here, and then we're gonna do black, like a gloss black vinyl on these for now and see how that turns out. If we don't like the gloss black vinyl, we'll go ahead and do like a dark smoke tint on them. But honestly, I think the gloss black will look fine. It's such a small piece that doesn't have to match perfectly. And then once the new daily arrives, I'm gonna be bringing the car back for Lewis to do a full paint correction and full front end PPF. I wanna make sure that he has enough time to do it. And right now, this is my only car, so we're gonna have to wait until the daily comes in. Should be here in the next few weeks. Once that happens, I'm gonna give this Supra to him and he's gonna handle that. If you guys are interested in Sensational services, I'm gonna leave their information down below. Make sure you hit them up. They do wrapping, tinting, detailing, ceramic coating, the whole nine. Anything you need, hit them up, Charlotte, North Carolina. Lewis is wrapping up the back windshield. Front windows on here, 20%. So much better. Night and day difference on the car. You can just see it from right here. And once those doors are closed and that's closed, it's gonna look so good. Tint is a must. It's just a must. All right, so we're using black vinyl. We decided to just go for it. It looks like a match. I mean, yeah, it's really close, but it's such a small piece. Like, dude, you'll never notice. Let the master get to work here. But the windows are pretty much done. Got to put together this piece. I put tape on the on these because you have to wait 48 hours until you can roll these down again. My dumb ass will definitely roll these down. Look at how cool the trunk looks without the tray up here. That tray that goes across, the trunk looks so sweet. Imagine roll cage coming up. Perfect. I shouldn't have even paid for the other ones. We should have just done that to all of them. It was 250 bucks for all of them. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it looks identical to the front one. That's funny. On to Ppf'ing the Headlights. And he's actually got the template for it, so. It says Supra, he's got the headlights right here. And then he's gonna send the PPF through the cutter. Cutter will automatically cut the template out for the headlights. And then we'll transfer that onto the car. It's pretty cool how that works. That worked out so good. So like we wouldn't have been able to get away with this on my Alpine White M2 because that white is just so drastically different than like any vinyl. So black is obviously, you can kind of get away with it a little more on a black car. But dude, it's freaking perfect. Like that turned out so good. Probably just return the the ones that I spent $100 some on. I mean, they look no different than the painted ones. Is that a BMW, Doc? How many BMW parts can we spot? Let's go on a scavenger hunt. Oh, found one. Found one. This is a goddamn BMW. There's my turb skis. There's the manifold right next to it. BMW. BMW. Protected. Look at how good these look. Can't even tell. And that is exactly how we like it. But PPF is on there. So now I don't have to worry about rocks or anything flying up in the freeway. And then once I get the daily and Lewis does the full paint correction, we'll get the rest of the car PPF'd. But for now, I just wanted to get these headlights taken care of because those get abused quite easily and they're expensive to replace. That's what I'm talking about. 20% ceramic. She is looking good. Got rid of all the reflectors. Got the front PPF'd. Lewis, what kind of paint correction do you think we're gonna have to do on this car?
We could probably get by with a one step, but we're gonna probably go two.
A little more in depth.
A little more in depth.
It's black, we gotta make it look good.
And it's yours.
So we are at Sensational, just to remind you guys, and if you need wraps done, detailing, ceramic coating, PPF, tinting, any of that, they do that here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm gonna have all their information down below. They have a YouTube channel, Instagram, all that stuff, so feel free to DM them if you have any questions. Lewis, thank you for your help today. I appreciate it. And we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, you guys. Supra's coming along. Obviously, this is just the beginning of a lot of content on this car. But you guys know me, I like to get things kind of, looks so good. It literally looks like a little Batmobile, especially tinted out. As you guys know, we just wanted to jump start this one. Kind of like all my cars, I usually do like the black roof and tint them out and get the ceramic done and all that stuff. We're gonna leave the paint correction and the ceramic coating and the PPFing for another day because I'm actually gonna wait until I get the daily driver and then drop the car off with Lewis so he can take his time and really get into it and do a killer job. But that is effectively gonna end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, comment down below, like this video, hit that bell notification, and just like that, video's over, and we're out. Peace.